away from politics tonight, away from 2023. Let's discuss some other social issues. Um, Over the years, I realized that marriages have different various issues. Some of the issues have ranged from um, claims of infidelity, economy. Maybe some say the man isn't capable enough to take care of the family, and then the woman, as a result, always has to step out, go out of her way to also bring something to the table. Consequently, more oftentimes you see, especially celebrity marriages, they they hardly last. Before I move on, let me just inform you that in case you like to join the conversation, maybe you have one experience or other or lessons to share, kindly just use the link. I've pinned it in the comment section. Just use the link to join the conversation. But the topic tonight is to talk about how do we balance successful, you know, careers for especially for women, successful women. I've heard these things many times where people say, "Oh, many men are afraid of marrying successful women because they feel that they will not be controllable, or that they feel that they will not have submission. Like the woman will not be submissive at home. She will feel too big to cook, to do the washing or other home chores." But many answers have also been provided to this in the past and over the years, where some will just opt for getting made, like you get made. You know, Others have also said it has its own shortcoming to get made because maids, usually you've seen videos of some maid mistreating the kid. We've also seen cases where the man, if it's a female maid, the maid oftentimes cheats with the husband, the man in the house. And then the female too, we've also had cases where the female also, as a result of the kind of career they have, also engage in some extramarital affairs and trust issues arise. We've also seen cases where if the woman is successful, by the time they end up doing some DNA, they find that the children, maybe one or two, are not for the husband. By the time they realize they're already growing old, I mean, almost too old. So there are so many instances like that. But people have also killed or cut their uh, career length short due to you know due to trying to maintain or balance their home. They want to have a balanced home. So consequently, a lot of people just say, "Well, I want to stay with my husband, and I'll just not go too far in this career. I just do little. I don't want to be traveling too much. I don't want to do this or that," because they want to maintain their home. Now, to avoid stigma, a lot of women end up sticking to their marriages and end up just not going to find the career. Some of them also say, well, they end up being mistreated because the man always likes to prove their ego. Now, how do you maintain career success, especially a successful career with marriage? Well, I think it depends on the understanding of the two of you, understanding of the man with the woman. Some men find it difficult to cope with a woman who is more successful than them, especially financially. So if the woman is the breadwinner, they feel threatened. I do not know why. And it has also resulted in many families or many people, you know, resorting to different kinds of sexual orientations. You know, I heard of so many, including now there's what they call marks for men going their own way, MGTOW, men going their own way. How do you cope as a man in a relationship where the woman is more successful? This is something that I think we need to start teaching men how to love women who are even more successful than them, and how to teach women to also be humble in their success while at home. I mean, I'm so interested in this topic so that we can start teaching men how to be humble to accept that their wife is more successful. Another question that is popping up here is, if your woman is successful, she is a breadwinner, and she has better, she has opportunity to have better house, would you move in? For instance, in the case of Funke Akindele, maybe she didn't even use her hand to build a house in order to compete with the husband. She markets for housing estates, and as part of her, her reward, and as part of the terms of their deal, she may be getting, well-suited house as compensation for helping to attract customers to them. So would you say she shouldn't move in? And if she's moving in, should the husband move in with her? Or should they, especially when more of the time she's shooting in that apartment, she's shooting in the estate, and that's what works for her, and it's a business. So for me, blaming Funke Akindele, would not be too, I won't be too too extreme blaming her. I'll just say the understanding is what is most important. Then I want to push this out to say, let's start as parents. If you have a young boy, teach him how to accept, how to tolerate a more success, because some young people have traits even from when they're young, pre-relationship. You know, for instance, you see a girl more brilliant or doing well in class, and you're not, you're jealous, you're envious, you're intolerant of it, and you are showing it. You have to, once you notice such traits in a boy, call them close, show them love. Because for the girl to have peace, see, listen, for the advocacy for girl child or gender equality or whatever, start with the male child. If you truly want the girl to have peace, start teaching the boys how to love the girl, how to see the girl not as competition, all right, but as the sister, okay, as a collaborator, not as a threat. If the boy child doesn't know how to love and how to tolerate the opposite gender, even when they are more successful, they will grow up to become, you know, husbands who will not tolerate their wives being more successful than them or being the breadwinner in the house. So the man or the male child should be at the center of the advocacy to helping the woman, except we are all deceiving ourselves that we really want um, to give chance to women in our society to to do well too. So I am personally impressed by Funke Akindele's success, but I know that yes, sometimes there can be differences, which again will depend on the maturity of both and understanding. So my message tonight is, as we are teaching the boy child how to love the girl and how to tolerate them when they are successful, we should also be teaching the female how to be humble in their success. That despite whatever you can be, let's give them examples. I've listened to so many seminars in the past where they will use people like Mrs. Awoshika as example of somebody who is still humble in her success. And examples abound. Unfortunately, most of the people who are into entertainment or movie industry, uh, we often have they often have the challenge of not being able to maintain or stick to one. And usually it's not because they are promiscuous. It's not because they flirt. I think it's more of transactional purposes. More of the time, like maybe for economic reasons, they feel the man doesn't have enough financial power to, to maintain the status they have attained. And so they just have to let everybody go. So if the man doesn't have the financial muscle to maintain the new status you have attained as a result of your career progress or success, and you want to be free to be able to do enough in order to be able to also make enough to sustain or maintain the status you have attained, then the man starts getting jealous. Again, understanding. At least there's nothing wrong if the two of you call each other to table, understand each other. Maybe if the man isn't too comfortable that you have to stay out all the time shooting, maybe he wants to join your team, manage things for you, and gets paid too. Not necessarily getting paid as part of crew, but controlling some part of the business, and you could grow it together. Even to, I mean, I see Tokwe Alabi and Aki Alabi oftentimes. You're impressed, right? So I just feel it boils down to understanding of the two. And I also wish that we can start teaching our young people, the boy child, how to love and tolerate the girl child, even in their successes. And also for the girl child to learn how to be humble and understanding in their success. And I guess that's the summary of all I just have to say on this topic. Yes, career-wise, you don't have to cut it. You might only have to balance it. And if you're afraid losing some progress in your career by wanting to be all out there every time, we also do not want a repeat of the Osinashi, issue. So for me, let's teach everybody from young age. Let's teach young boys how to love girls even in their success and be tolerant of other people succeeding. And let's also teach the girls how to be humble in their success. Gentlemen and ladies, that's the bit I just have to share tonight before I go to bed. I love you all. Thank you.
Please meet Mr. Abiodun Akinyemi, a man who is looking to solve the big chunk of the housing crisis that we have in Nigeria by making affordable, self-sufficient homes. This kind of homes are becoming more and more popular, by the way, because they are efficient and they are environmentally friendly, and then it costs less to make them if you think about it in the long run. Anyway, before I tell you about the smart homes that he's building, let me tell you a little bit about his story. He's based in Canada right now, and he decided to build a house in Lagos, Nigeria, where he's from. But upon making inquiries, the cost of building a house has increased significantly since he moved to Canada. So instead of using brick throughout his construction, he substituted it with laterite, and he was able to save 30% of the construction cost. Laterite has a lot of advantages, by the way, including warming your home during the cold weather, cooling your home in the hot season. It's cheaper because it's readily available. It's everywhere in Nigeria. It has high clay content, which means it can hold more water. Laterite gives you better air quality. So if you build your house with laterite, you can breathe in better air quality. You can even recycle it. So if you build a house with laterite and you don't like it, you can break down the house and use the brick to build another house. And that's just to name a few of the advantages. But he didn't stop at building his personal house. He decided to make his house self-sufficient, off-grid, which means that he's not going to be dependent on the electricity from the Nigerian government. So he's using solar power, and he's also not going to be using power generator, so there will be no noise, no air pollution. At the same time, he's not using the regular sockaway that everybody uses in Nigeria. He's disposing his own waste material by decomposing it, and he's generating his own water. So once the house is completed, he doesn't need anything from them. And this is why they call this home self-sufficient, off-grid homes. That alone inspires me. The fact that he was able to find an alternative to just spending so much money on building a house, and the fact that he doesn't have to depend on the government. He made himself a self-sufficient house. That is the inspiration for me. But then he took it a step further. So after learning from his own experience, he wants to do the same for others, except that he wants to do it better. If you see the picture of the house, you may not be too impressed by the aesthetic, but he calls this the experimental house, because what he has decided to do is to now mass produce this kind of house for other people. In case anybody out there is interested in having a house that will be self-sufficient, he has bought acres of land in Lakwe beachfront in order to construct an off-grid estate. And what you guys are seeing is what he would be constructing. All these houses would not be using NEPA, and they will be constructed with laterite bricks. If anyone is interested, he's looking for 10 people, just 10 people to start out. The price starts at 34 million naira for 3 bedrooms. rooms, and you can pay in installment. He has a contract readily available, readily prepared, which you can share with your lawyer to know if that's a good deal or not. I mean, some people may feel like that's a lot of money, but it's a one-time payment that you no longer have to worry about electricity bill. You no longer have to worry about paying them to empty your sock away and stuff like that. It's a one-time payment that you know that from beginning to end, you know your house is complete and self-sufficient. Anyway, I asked him, by the way, I said, what if someone is interested right now and they decided to pay you, and along the way they decided they're no longer interested, they don't like what they are seeing? And he said to me that your money is refundable, as stated in the contract. He said he will give you back 95% of the money, and the remaining 5% is for administrative charges. He's using a system of interlocking bricks instead of the traditional style of construction. And this system results in a house that is 10 times stronger than traditionally built house, and also more terminally efficient. Each home would have its own fire system and will be conveniently located by a fire hydrant in order to make it easier for fire crews to help just in case of an emergency. We'll be building common areas that will have a gym, a playground, swimming pool, ball courts, grocery stores, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, the houses in his estate will reduce global warming and human carbon footprint. So guys, if you're interested, please check him out. This is his website.